Hello YouTube, we are back for another installment in relation to Mike Night Tiger's Thrilling Comics. Now, what we're going to do today is I'm just going to show you how I perform tear seals using all the good things that I use in the Jerry the Jitterbug lair. And in particular, we're going to use methyl cellulose, we're going to use Tengojo, and we're going to use a paintbrush. We're going to use my tack iron. We're going to use my X-Acto knife. We're going to use parchment paper, just like this. And I'm going to show you how at least I repair rips without using water, meaning we're not going to soak, we're not going to do anything like that. So this is going to be very handy, this upload, for individuals who want to repair rips without soaking pages, without taking the book apart, without doing all those things that are necessary, or at least necessary for the aqueous treatment in fixing tears in books. So more people, I think, can do it by me showing how to do it this way, because not everyone wants to disassemble books. Not everyone wants to soak books and fix tears wet. So we're going to do it dry, and this is the tear that we're going to work on. And I hope the camera's picking it up, and I'm sure the camera is picking it up. So this is the tear. It's a pretty nasty tear, and this is all that we're going to do. This is the only thing that we're going to fix. I have to go through the whole book. There's tears throughout the book. I'm going to do that off camera, but I just want to concentrate on this one tear. So just to give by way of example, this tear is about 3/4 of an inch long. So it's a significant tear, and if we don't repair it, what's going to happen? We all know what's going to happen. It's going to continue to rip if you actually read the book. And I know my Mike Night Tiger, he likes to read his comics. And Mike, I'm sorry I haven't been calling you. I've been very, very busy with work. I'll give you a buzz on the day that this upload is going to be uploaded, which is tomorrow morning. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is, let's do some basics. The glue that I use is methyl cellulose. Check my catalog, follow the thumbnails. I have many uploads how I make this stuff. I usually make one jar every year, every 9 months or so. It lasts a long time. So go check out my uploads how I make it, so you can make it on your own. You don't have to buy it pre-made. You make it on your own and it will last for a long time. The second thing that we want to do, or what we want to do next, is I want to remove my mat, because you can't do this on one of these mats, because what happens with the mat is if you put heat on it, it will warp, and we're going to use heat to repair the tear seal. So right here I have a piece of parchment paper, and this is what we're going to use, just regular parchment paper, and this is going to help us out nicely. The next thing I want to do is let me adjust the camera so we can focus just on this tear right here, and we can get it done and fixed up, and maybe you'll learn something, and hopefully you'll be able to use this process on your own. So hang out, let me adjust the camera. Okay guys, we're back. So what I want to do is, we have this 3/4 inch rip right here, okay? So all that I want to do is I want to get a brush, and I don't want to get a thick brush because we don't want to put on a lot of methyl cellulose. That's a no-no. You just want to put a small amount, and this is a very thin brush right here, width-wise. So what you want to do is you want to just take your brush and you want to rub the methyl cellulose just like this, okay? And you want to put it on the rip. You don't want to go crazy and put it all over the place. You also want to get your Tengojo ready, okay? And for this, I'm just going to rip it. We're not going to worry about fraying the piece of Tengojo, and you'll see why in a second. So let me open up the methyl cellulose right here. And if you make it and follow my instructions on how to make it, this stuff is good as gold. It will last a long time. You keep it in a sealed jar. There's no issues with it in my opinion. And it really holds the bond very nicely. So right here, we're gonna go right from the top and we're just gonna take a line of methyl cellulose and go all the way down, just like that, boom, done. Then what you wanna do is you wanna take your Tengojo and you wanna place it right on. And we're doing this dry. Remember guys, I'm going down just like that. Simple, easy peasy, right? The next thing that you want to do is we're going to do this fast. So right here I have, this is silicone paper, or it may be a different name for this. This is what people use when they press books and then they wind up getting pebbling from CGC, because it's a fine net and it will imprint on the book if you use this type of paper or silicone non-stick cloth. If you use that when you are actually pressing books. And I learned that many years ago when I used it when I first got my press, and I think I did it on one of the modern books, and what happened was CGC said pebbling. I did get like a 9.4 in the book. I probably could have got a 9.8, but the pebbling did occur, and that's what they call it because this texture imprints on the cover. I do like to use this when I press Golden Age books sometimes that are in rough shape, because it will put a minor imprint on the Golden Age book, making it a texture, and I like the texture if it's in really rough shape. I'll also use it on all other books if I'm cold pressing the book. So right here I am heating up and I am ironing the methyl cellulose and the Tengojo that I just applied. And you take your time, you iron it nicely, you're not in a rush. I am Italian, I'm not Russian, so I take my time when I do things. You want it to dry nicely, and the benefit of doing it this way is that you can take care of a whole interior of a book quickly without having it wet. You can keep it assembled and you'll be in good shape. So that should be enough to have the tear seal dried. And it did, it dried nice. You see, easy peasy. Actually, I feel it. It is a little moist, and most likely, look at the moisture. Hopefully it's coming up. That permeated through the book or through the page, and it went into the parchment paper. So I'm gonna flip it around, and I'm going to give a new area of the parchment paper. And even what I like to do sometimes is I like to take one single piece of paper towel and I like to put it underneath the parchment paper just like that. So by doing that, it will absorb the moisture that is going to come through when I iron it. So let's do it again. Let's give it some more ironing take our time. It will give me time to talk to my fans and the people who are watching. Thank you. You should go check out the first upload of my 4,000 subscriber giveaway. You're gonna have to comment on each upload. I'm still thinking what I should give away for the modern tier. I have a lot of books, but I'm thinking maybe to give more quality versus quantity. So I haven't decided, but it's gonna be fun. Most likely my 4,000 subscriber giveaway is gonna go on for a few months like I like to do. I did surpass 4,000. I think I'm 4,025 or something like that. And again, thank you for everyone who comments and who supports the channel. It truly is appreciated by me. And I work very hard in my real job, and working on comics is an escape for me. And hopefully I teach the people who watch the uploads a few things, how to work on their books. And I truly do enjoy collecting. I truly do enjoy working and making something better than it can be. But again, we're dealing with paper, so things do happen, but we try our best. So right there, let me feel. So we're good. I feel that we are damp free. Let me check the camera, because if I don't have this on the camera, what a waste. What are we doing here? So next, we basically sealed the 3/4 inch tear. So what we want to do next is, hey Jerry, you have all this excess Tengojo paper. How are we going to get rid of this? So what I do is I flip it over just like that. Okay, I hope the camera is picking it up. Then I have right here, this is the film, thin plastic that I get at, where do I buy this? Not Hobby Lobby. I buy this at, you know what, I'm getting, the name is escaping me right now. Yes, Blick Art Supplies. This is where I get this from. And it's in the paper aisle in the big bins, where it's a specialty paper. It's used for drafting. Architects use it. So we're gonna put it in just like this, and I'm gonna get it underneath the portion that is not sealed with the methyl cellulose. Then I wanna flip it over, and then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna hold it with my fingers like this, and then I'm just gonna use the blade, and this is a dull blade, and I'm gonna sear off the Tengojo that is not adhered. See that? Right here, hopefully the camera's picking it up. So I just cut the right side of the tear seal. And the benefit of doing it this way is not every tear on comics is perfectly straight. Sometimes they zigzag, they go different directions, okay? So by doing it this way and putting the glue down first, or the methyl cellulose, you're adhering the Tengojo to the shape of the rip. Does that make sense, everyone? I hope it does. So I'm gonna flip it over just like this, okay? And then we're gonna do the same thing going the opposite way, okay? And we're gonna scrape it, and I always use a dull blade. This is not a new sharp blade. And I scrape it on the plastic. By scraping it on the plastic, we're not gonna damage the comic, because the actual plastic is protecting the newsprint of the book. So right here now, we're gonna take care of the top of the tear seal, okay? I will put my film down just like this. We'll rest it over, and I'll do the same thing. Look, scraping it and getting rid of the excess. Now what I want to do, and I'm glad I'm on glass, we're just going to scoot it down just like this, okay? And then what I'll do is, what can I use? I have a lot of different measuring devices, but when I cut, I always like to use my clear plastic. And I want to do a shout out to Michael Mayren because he suggested it long ago. Jerry, get a clear ruler so you can see what you're doing. So thank you, Michael, if you're watching. I think you're one of those secret watchers that you watch my uploads. You don't comment, you comment from time to time, but then he always, from occasion, likes to contact me on Instagram, which I don't mind. I appreciate it, and we talk on Instagram. So right there we have the tear seal, nice, but we're not done, okay? Because what I want to do is I want to do a separate application of the methyl cellulose, because we still do have a little fibers that are left over, because although I scraped it away, there's still fibers that we have to go down and make sure we get it nicely. So I'll take the methyl cellulose and I'll slowly fan it out just like that. Very easy. You take your time, you fan it out just like this, because you want to get those little stragglers down, those stinking stragglers. You don't want them coming up, because if you're going to send this to CGC, that can be a red flag for them to say, hey, what happened? This is not a professional job. And then you won't get a conserved grade. Then what you do is you put your paper down, your silicone paper. I'm sure this is the wrong, I think it is silicone matte. If there's anyone out there watching and you have the right answer, but I do think it's a silicone roll that I buy and you can cut it. Many years ago I bought it when I first got my press. So this is what we're doing. We're going to iron the second application of the methyl cellulose. I might as well take a piece of paper towel, put it underneath so we can absorb the moisture. And this is the deal, guys. This is what I'm going to do for each and every page. Now you have to understand that by doing this, it's not a fast procedure. It's actually a very slow and time-consuming procedure, but it's well worth it, because if you do it this way, the repair will be hopefully seamless. And if I look closely, I can always find Tengojo repairs, but from a distance, it shouldn't be standing out. Also, there is colored Tengojos that you can use. I believe they make it in different shades of tan and white or off-white, but I use the white Tengojo because I'm not trying to hide anything. I thought perhaps maybe one day when I do the repairs, dyeing the methyl cellulose, not the Tengojo. So what you can do is perhaps brew some tea, and I was contemplating putting a few drops of tea in a small portion of the methyl cellulose so I can tint the methyl cellulose. But then you're going down that slippery slope, whether it's color touch, things of that nature. You have to be careful. So let's check it out after putting the iron on. It's feeling pretty good. I'm just going to shift it over a little bit and we're going to iron it a little bit more. And I'm sure I lost about 50, 60, 70% of my viewers in this upload because this is a real snoozer. I'll still have the die-hard conservationists. And listen, if you're out there and you watch my uploads and you enjoy the uploads and you are into conserving comics, why don't you leave a comment? Why don't you tell me what you think? Why don't you say if you would do something different? if you like the way I did it, or maybe another suggestion. The comments are greatly appreciated. I take a lot of time to respond to each and every one of the comments on my uploads. A lot of individuals ask very detailed questions, and I do my best. And then there are some who shoot me comments on Instagram. I have no problem with that, but YouTube is my main forum. YouTube is my main focus. And if you do want to ask a question, try to do it on YouTube first, and then it can spill over to Instagram if we want to get personalized. But I want the activity on the YouTube channel, so then the algorithms maybe will get going, because some uploads I get a lot of hits, some I don't. I guess comic conservation is not as sexy as other topics on YouTube, but hey, I'm an old dog. This is what I do, minus my other episodes of how to build an ultimate comic collection, and my comic show uploads, and my comic store uploads. Those seem to do a lot better than the general comic conservation uploads, but this is my passion. This is what I like to do. So there you go, guys. The repair is finished. There it is. It came out pretty well. It's strong. It's not gonna come undone. That's on to stay. And the only way that's gonna come undone is if you put water to it. I'll be able to remove this tear seal if I want to at any time of day with a little water. But that's a beautiful repair. It's a professional repair. I think if graded in no uncertain terms, this is a repair that is a conserved repair. Now, if you look at it, it's hardly there. It's hidden. So let's make this a little bit bigger now, and let's put it back and reunite it with the rest of the book. And you're gonna have a little glare for a second, but let's flip it over. You can't even tell on the other side a repair was done. So I'm very happy with the results. I hope that people who watched are enjoying this quick repair of the exciting comics owned by Night Tiger Comics. Thank you, Mike, for letting me work on the book. I'm getting excited to get this finished. And the repair, I think, is dynamite. Look at it. You can't even tell there's a repair through the camera or by me looking at it right now. This is where the repair was, and now there's no more rip. That rip was a 3/4 inch rip. Now we have 0 rip, and it's done within a CGC conserved grade, and it's done where it will last and it is virtually invisible. So thank you. Tell me what you think. Appreciate your support, and stay tuned.